My name is Margaret and I am 60 years old. For most of my life, I lived by routines and responsibilities, believing that certain opportunities were only for the young or the bold. But the last few years have taught me something I never expected. It is never too late to begin again. This is my story. I was born and raised in a small town, where everyone knew everyone else. My parents were hardworking, kind people who taught me the value of dedication and kindness. After college, I married my high school sweetheart, John, and together we built a quiet life filled with simple joys. A small home, Sunday dinners, and occasional family trips. For decades, I was a mother, a wife, a community volunteer, and a loyal friend. My days were full, yet I often found myself slipping into a pattern. Wake, work, care for the family, sleep, repeat. The years passed quickly. When John passed away 5 years ago, I felt an emptiness I wasn't prepared for. Suddenly, the routines that once gave my life structure felt like chains holding me back. I retreated into myself. The house felt too quiet. Friends reached out, but I declined most invitations, not out of bitterness, but simply because I didn't know who I was without John. I stopped painting, stopped gardening, and stopped dreaming about the future. It was easier to just survive each day. One chilly autumn afternoon, while sorting through old boxes in the attic, I came across my late mother's journals. She had written extensively about her own struggles and triumphs, about the times she felt lost and how she found her way again. One entry stood out to me where she wrote, "Life is a river that never stops flowing. We can either hold on to the past or step into the current and discover new shores." That night, those words echoed in my mind. I realized that I had been holding on too tightly to what was lost instead of opening myself to what could still be. The next morning I made a decision. I would no longer be a prisoner of grief or fear. I would start small, but I would start. My first step was to join a local art class. I had loved painting in my youth but hadn't touched a brush in years. The class was full of people much younger than me, but I didn't let that stop me. I learned to mix colors again, to express emotions on canvas, and most importantly, to enjoy the process without judgment. The more time I spent painting, the more I felt my confidence returning. I started visiting the nearby park to sketch trees and flowers. I signed up for a book club, where I met new friends who shared my love for stories and laughter. Slowly, my world grew beyond the walls of my quiet house. Then came an unexpected invitation from a community center volunteer. They asked me to help organize events for seniors. I hesitated but accepted. Organizing brought new challenges. Coordinating meetings, arranging speakers, and encouraging participation. It pushed me out of my comfort zone, but with each success my spirit lifted. One evening, after a lively event where we celebrated local artists, I stood outside under the stars. I felt a lightness I hadn't known in years. A friend came up beside me and said, "Margaret, you shine brighter than ever. You remind us all that life doesn't have an expiration date." Those words touched me deeply. I had spent so long thinking my time had passed, but here I was, rediscovering my purpose, my joy, and even a new sense of adventure. Since then, I've traveled to places I only dreamed of. Small museums, quiet beaches, vibrant markets. I've learned new skills like pottery and digital photography. Each experience has reminded me that the world is full of possibilities at every age. Most importantly, I've learned to be gentle with myself, to embrace the ebbs and flows of life, to accept setbacks without shame, and to celebrate progress no matter how small. My journey isn't unique, but it is mine. If I could offer one message to anyone watching, it would be this. It's never too late to start over, to find new passions, to open your heart again. No matter where you are in life, the river keeps flowing, inviting you to step into its current and discover new shores.